Every gamer knows the feeling. You sit down after work or school and tell yourself you'll play for an hour, maybe two. You have things to do tomorrow anyway. You should probably get some sleep. And then somehow it's 3 in the morning. Maybe you were exploring a distant planet, maybe you were building something that started as a small project and somehow turned into an entire city. Or maybe you got so invested in a world that you completely forgot about the real one. The best games don't just entertain us, they pull us in. They make us curious, they make us lose track of time. And before we know it, they've completely taken over our weekend. Hi and welcome to Nerdiverse. Today we're counting down 10 games that are almost impossible to put down. These are the games you'll get lost in. First up at number 10 we have Frostpunk. Frostpunk is one of those games that starts up looking like a simple city builder and then somehow turns you into a desperate leader making decisions you'd never thought you'd make. At first you're just gathering coal, building shelters and trying to survive the cold. But before long people are starving, resources are running out and suddenly you're asking yourself questions that no city builder has any right to ask. Do you put children to work? Do you sacrifice freedom to keep order? How much of your humanity are you willing to lose if it means your city survives another day? That's what makes Frostpunk so hard to put down. It's not just about managing buildings, it's about carrying the weight of every decision. Every choice feels important, every mistake has consequences, and every victory feels earned. It's a kind of game where you sit down for an hour and suddenly realize you've spent the entire evening trying to save a city that exists only on your screen. Next up at number 9 we have Valheim. Valheim feels like the adventure many of us imagine having when we first fell in love with video games. You begin with almost nothing, no legendary armor, no kingdom to rule, just a Viking warrior standing in a mysterious world filled with forests, mountains, oceans, and secrets waiting to be uncovered. The game doesn't hold your hand much. Instead, it simply points toward the horizon and lets your curiosity take over. You set out to gather a few resources and somehow end up discovering a new biome, building an outpost halfway across the map, and fighting creatures you weren't prepared for. Every expedition feels like its own story. That's the magic of Valheim. It's not just about survival, it's about the feeling of adventure, and before you know it, you've spent hours exploring because you're always wondering what might be waiting just behind the next hill. Next, at number 8, we have a SnowRunner. If you've never played a SnowRunner before, explaining why it's addictive sounds almost impossible. On paper, you're driving trucks through mud. That's it. No dragons, no world-ending threats. No epic battles, just cargo, difficult roads, and vehicles that seem determined to get stuck at the worst possible moment. Trust me, they really do. But somehow that's exactly what makes it so compelling. Every successful delivery feels earned because the environment is constantly fighting against you. Rivers become obstacles, mud becomes your greatest enemy, a simple trip across the map can turn into a full-blown adventure. SnowRunner has a strange ability to make time disappear. You'll promise yourself one more contract before logging off, then look at the clock and realize you've spent the entire evening planning routes, rescuing trucks, and stubbornly refusing to quit until the job is finished. At number 7 we have Disco Elysium. Disco Elysium is one of those games that reminds you just how unique this medium can be. You're a detective investigating a murder, but honestly that's only a small part of what makes this game special. The real attraction is the world itself and the people who inhabit it. Every conversation feels meaningful, every character feels memorable, even your own thoughts can interrupt, argue and influence your decisions. What makes Disco Elysium so immersive is its writing. It's funny, intelligent, tragic, weird and often completely unpredictable. Few games tries their dialogue and storytelling this much, and even fewer pull it off this well. It's the kind of game where you start chasing a murder investigation and end up spending hours talking to strangers, exploring political ideas, and getting completely absorbed in one of gaming's most fascinating worlds. At number 6, we have Satisfactory. Satisfactory is probably the closest thing that gaming has to a black hole for a free time. It begins innocently enough. Build a few machines, gather some resources, connect a couple of conveyor belts, simple. Then you notice something could be more efficient. And that's when the game gets its hook into you. Suddenly you're redesigning entire production lines, optimizing factories, and planning massive industrial projects that would make real-world engineers proud. The genius of Satisfactory is that every improvement feels rewarding. Every solution creates a new challenge, and every challenge creates another goal. Before long, you're staring at a sprawling factory complex, wondering where the last 5 hours went. It's one of those games that turns just one more thing into a lifestyle. Next up, we have a very wonderful game. Number 5. Subnautica. Subnautica captures a feeling that very few games manage to achieve: pure curiosity. From the moment you're stranded on an alien ocean world, the game constantly tempts you to explore just a little further. What's hidden beneath that reef? What's inside that cave? What's making that terrifying sound somewhere in the darkness below? Every discovery feels meaningful because you're slowly uncovering the secrets of a world that feels completely alien. At the same time, the deeper you go, the more dangerous everything becomes. The ocean is beautiful, but it's also absolutely terrifying. You find yourself exploring calmly and in peace, and suddenly you're getting chased down by a sea dragon or getting ripped in half by a reaper leviathan. That's why Subnautica is so unforgettable. It combines wonder, exploration, survival, and fear into one incredible experience. It's a game that makes you want to keep exploring even when every instinct is telling you to turn around. Next, we have one of the greatest comebacks in gaming history: No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky delivers something that very few games can: the feeling that there is another adventure always waiting. You can start your journey on a frozen planet, discover tropical paradise an hour later, and spend the evening building a base on a world nobody else has ever seen. The sheer scale of the universe is difficult to comprehend. What makes No Man's Sky so easy to get lost in isn't just the numbers of the planets, it's the freedom. You can become an explorer, a trader, a builder, a pirate, or simply someone who enjoys wandering through the stars. Every time you think you've seen everything, the games find a way to surprise you, and that's what keeps players coming back. There's always another planet, another mystery, and another story waiting somewhere out there in the galaxy. And number 3, we have Minecraft. There are bigger games, there are prettier games, but very few games have captured players' imaginations quite like Minecraft. The reason is simple: freedom. Minecraft gives you a world and asks one question: what do you want to do with it? Some players build castles, others create entire cities, spend their time exploring endless cave systems, while others turn the game into a survival challenge. Everyone plays differently, and that's exactly why it works. What makes Minecraft so easy to lose yourself in is that every goal feels like your own. The game rarely tells you what to do. Instead, it lets your imagination take control, and before you know it, the small wooden house you started building has somehow become a massive project that consumed your entire weekend. More than a decade later, Minecraft remains one of the greatest examples of a game that lets players create their own adventure. At number 2, we have Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds is one of those rare games that gamers become strangely protective of. Not because they're gatekeeping it, but because they know how special it is and they don't want anyone's experience spoiled. The less you know about Outer Wilds going in, the better. What starts as a simple journey through a small solar system gradually becomes one of the most fascinating mysteries in gaming. Every planet hides secrets, every discovery answers one question while creating 3 more. And unlike most games, progression isn't tied to better weapons or stronger abilities. It's tied entirely to knowledge. The more you learn, the more the universe begins to make sense, and that feeling of uncovering a mystery piece by piece is incredibly rewarding. Outer Wilds doesn't just encourage exploration, it makes curiosity the most powerful tool you have. And once the curiosity takes hold, it's almost impossible to stop playing. And taking the number 1 spot is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, a game that doesn't just immerse you in its world, it practically invites you to live there. Set in medieval Bohemia, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 achieves something few games ever manage. It makes the world feel believable, the towns feel alive, the people feel real, and even the smallest activities can lead to memorable stories. You will start a session intended to complete a single quest, and somehow end up hunting in the countryside, helping strangers, getting into trouble, exploring forests, or simply wandering through towns listening to conversations. That's because the game rarely feels like a checklist of objectives. Instead, it feels like a living world that exists independently of the player. You're not just completing quests, you're participating in everyday life inside a believable medieval world. And that's why Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 takes the number 1 spot. When a game stops feeling like a game and starts feeling like a place, you found something special. And few games make it easier to completely lose yourself than this one. What makes these games special isn't necessarily their graphics, their combat, or even their size. It's the fact that they make the outside world disappear for a little while. Whether you're surviving for the apocalypse in Frostpunk, uncovering the mystery of Outer Wilds, building your dream world in Minecraft, or simply wandering through medieval Bohemia in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, each of these games creates a place that's incredibly easy to get lost in. And honestly, that's one of the most magical things video games can do. For a few hours, they let us forget where we are, who we are, and become completely invested in somewhere else. But now we want to hear from you. Which games have you gotten lost in the most? Which game completely took over your life and made you lose all track of time? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. channel, and we'll see you in the next adventure.